3 of the slipperiest narcissistic tactics out there. This is Radical Self-Respect with Jared Mello. We're going to jump right in today because these tactics are pretty slick. They're like verbal aikido or verbal jujitsu, and they are very slippery, and if you're not aware of these things, they can really throw you off balance. But before I begin, no, these things are really just gaslighting, flipping the script back, but sometimes, and this is when it's the trickiest, there's a little truth in what they say sometimes, and it can be really tricky in those scenarios. But the first scenario, number 1, you call them out on something, and the narcissistic person's response is, that's just how you're perceiving it. And here's the thing about that. Can there be truth in that sometimes? Sure. But what the narcissistic person isn't doing is taking responsibility or any ownership for what you say. They're just deflecting it back. That's just how you're perceiving it. And it's really slippery. Case number 2. Say, for example, you call them out on something, or you tell them that what they've done has made you feel something, or has influenced how you feel. They say, oh, that wasn't my intention. Trademark narcissistic line. They love the, it wasn't my intention, because it absolves them from any responsibility or accountability. And this is not to be confused with blaming others for how we feel. I think in situations in life, we will have feelings. We will feel things from time to time, and other people can influence our feelings. When we mention something where, say, someone's behavior influences us or impacts us, and we say something, I think that is more just having boundaries and teaching others how to treat us. But if we try to do this with a narcissistic person, they won't take any responsibility or any accountability and just say, it wasn't my intention. Very slick, very slippery. Now the final one, this is also very tricky because there can be truth in it sometimes. And this is one of the self-help gurus. This is one of their favorite lines to pull. But it's the tactic, if they get any sort of criticism or disagreement, hate only comes from below. And the thing about that is, can it be true that hate only comes from below? Sure. But oftentimes what this really is, it's a slippery deflection so that they don't have to address the criticism or the disagreement. And it's a way to belittle the person that called them out or disagrees with them in front of everybody. So they'll say, oh, you shouldn't even be disagreeing. You shouldn't have your own opinion about this or call me out on this because hate only comes from below. So by even saying anything, you're proving you are below me. And this is something that a lot of the self-help people, the self-improvement folks, the mindset folks, they always say this. It's one of their go-tos. And can it be truthful? It's possible, but we got to recognize the difference when, is it just someone being negative by just trying to tear down someone that's above them? Yes, it can be that. Or is it the person that's narcissistic saying, and not wanting to get called out and just trying to deflect from a very reasonable point that the other person is making? Again, all of these situations require some nuance. It will not be completely black and white. We're going to have to take each situation individually to know which side of the equation it is. So to recap, the 3 slipperiest narcissistic tactics. We call them out. They'll say something like, that's just how you're perceiving it. Another version is you say something to them about how they're making you feel or something that you don't like that they've done. They'll say, well, it wasn't my intention for that to happen. And then finally, 3, hate only comes from below. If you disagree with somebody, especially if that person's like a self-help guru or an influencer of sorts, watch out for these narcissistic slippery deflections. Sometimes there can be a little truth in them, but other times it's just verbal aikido and jujitsu, flipping the script back on you so they don't have to take any accountability or responsibility for their side in a relationship. And then finally, last thing here, if we're going to be in a relationship with somebody, say you call them out because they've made you feel a certain way. If you're going to be in a relationship with somebody, both sides should care a little bit about how the actions are influencing the other. When there is no accountability, and it's the slippery reversal tactic, oh, just how you're perceiving it, oh, not my intention, oh, hate only comes from below, they're not really on the same team as you in that. They're trying to kind of deflect and win the conversation in those kinds of instances. And that's just not a good sturdy ground for a healthy partnership or a healthy relationship. So let me know what you think about this video in the comments section below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Maybe I'm being too black and white here. That's always possible too. But I think these are the slipperiest narcissistic tactics, 3 of the slipperiest, and they're very slippery and tricky because sometimes there can be a little truth in it. And it's like they say about the demon and the exorcist, watch out, because the demon can mix in the lies with the truth. But remember, if we're going to have a healthy relationship, someone will take into consideration our feelings. They will take into consideration their side of the street and their actions and how they impact others. That, to me, is the kind of relationship I would want to have. And if they're going to do any of those 3 things, not really headed in that direction, in my opinion. So if you got this far, please like the video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel if you like stuff about radical self-respect, and let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you.